And we're live. Hey everyone, I'm Marco. I'm one of the co-mentors here at the Project, and I run you guys through our info session today. So what's in store? What are we going to cover today? I think, first of all, I want to go into the curriculum and tell you a little bit how we customize our curriculum for job seekers, people who want to find a job as a junior web developer, and also entrepreneurs who want to launch their MVP and get their own idea out. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, talk a little bit about all the web applications that we're going to build. And then I'll talk a little bit about the support system, right? How do one-on-one mentorship sessions work? What happens in our office hours? What about our forum, our Slack channels, and our Scrum meetings, our weekly team meetings that we're having? And then I kind of at the end want to answer a question that I get a lot, which is like, Marco, besides landing a job as a junior web developer, besides launching my own MVP, what can I really build? What can I really produce afterwards? So I want to dive into that question as well and give you an honest answer to that. All right, let's jump straight in. Before that, make sure if you have any questions, anything comes up, you have anything that you want to have answered, either go to the Google Plus page, go to that little comment box, put your question in there, and I'll grab the questions from there afterwards. And do that early because I'm about 2 minutes ahead of you guys. So if you think about something last minute, I might not get to it. Then also a few of you already emailed me questions that you want me to go over. So definitely let me know about I'm going to cover those as well. And if you have any questions, if you don't want to use the Google Class, feel free to email them to me and I'll check my email as well. All right, let's jump straight in. Core curriculum, talk about that. So there's several web applications that we want you to build. First off, we start with a really simple one. That is an advice generating web application. It's nothing else but the user adds a quote into a database, store in the form, we store it in a database, and we randomly pull those quotes out, right? Doing so will give you a 360-degree view over how the Rails web framework works. Then we're also going to learn GitHub, Git for version control, how to push it live to the server. Heroku, we wrap that into a mobile-first view. So when you show up your app, right, and tell your friends, and they pull out their phone and say, "Hey, that's what I built." They're like, "Wow, that looks good," right? So we're always shooting for good design and clean front-end code that actually makes things look good on all devices, desktop, mobile, and tablets. Now, that usually takes our students to get that first application built and live and write their first Ruby code inside of the Rails web application framework. Takes them about maybe 2-3 days, 10 hours, that kind of stuff we're looking at. Then we keep the learning curve steep and move on to the next application. And what we're building next is a Yelp clone. So in the Yelp clone, we're having a lot of features that we're packing in there. And I think the most interesting feature is actually the integration with the Google Map API. So that means we need to write the Ruby code to grab an address that the user puts into a form and stores in the database, translate that address into latitude and longitude coordinates, and then pass those coordinates back to the Google Map API. So we get the little pin on the map. Then after that, we probably need more, right? More features to make this a fully functional web application. So what we're building as well is user comments. We want star ratings. And we also want to have automated email notifications. If somebody, let's say I have a pizza place on this Yelp phone and somebody actually leaves a comment or gives me a star rating, I want to have a notification email that tells me, hey, somebody just rated your app and gave you 5 stars. So I definitely want to have that info as well. So we build that and we integrate with another API to make that email flow happening. So next, we also need to build user authentication, right? User login, logout registration. So we do that as well. And finally, we build a little user dashboard where students actually see the analytics of their individual places that they have on the Yelp phone. I want to see what's the average star rating, how many comments have I received. So we built that as well. Building that out takes several weeks. 3 to 4 is about the average that our students take to build that out. And then we move on. We introduce test-driven development, right? Test-driven development, for you guys who don't know that yet, is we're writing automated software tests to test if all the features of our web application are working. And so introducing that is really crucial because it is the industry standard, and we need to know how to do that. Not only if you want to land a job, but also if you build your own web application. You want to know how to do that because that is how you actually launch products and make sure everything is working at any given moment. No one likes broken features if you're an entrepreneur or a job seeker. You should know how to do that and know how to write good tests and follow test-driven development best practices Now, next what we have is a Udemy clone, right? That is like an online learning platform, a two-sided marketplace where we have instructors on one side and we have students on the other side. What we do in there is basically we want to make sure that instructors are able to build their courses, build their content, and students can purchase those contents. And when I say purchasing, we always need to accept credit card payments on our platform. So the way we're doing this is we integrate with the Stripe API so we can accept payments on our platform. The next thing we need to do is also track on a database level which student purchased which courses and which do they have access from which instructor. And that gets pretty complicated, but it's really important that we know how to do this on a database relational perspective to build application that can handle those complex relationships, right? Other thing that we do in the Udemy clone when we go through that is we introduce JavaScript, right? We give you a real deep dive in that language, and we actually build a feature that improves the user interface of that application. So what we're building is a drag and drop interface where instructors can log in and actually reorganize their lesson blocks with a drag and drop interface, so there's not a page reload. And you all seen a drag and drop interface. We're building that from scratch at the moment when you need it, and then we move on. That all is about the first 8 weeks of the course that our students are going through. And then throughout that, we teach you a lot of algorithms and how to write really good Ruby code. It gave you those fundamental knowledge that you need to build complex web applications to move beyond like a Udemy clone, a Yelp clone, right? We want to build more complex things that can actually do more than just taking user information, storing it in a database, and showing it someplace else. It's called a CRUD application. We want to go way beyond that. You need that, especially if you want to land a job. You need that algorithmic training and know how to write really good code and solve complex challenges through writing code. So next up, while we go through the first 8 weeks, we write consistently good code solving algorithmic training challenges. And next up, we split the curriculum, right? It depends what your goals are. So if your goal is to actually land a job as a web developer, we have one track for you. If your goal is to build and launch an MVP, build your own minimum viable product, build out your own web application, we have the entrepreneur track. Let's talk first about the career seekers. What we do with you guys is we put you on a group project. And what we're building on that group project is a chess game. Now people usually tell me, oh, come on, Monica, chess game, that's not that exciting, right? It's not so much that you don't think that's exciting, it's that it's exciting to technical hiring managers and senior web developers because it is really, really challenging to build. So on top of you guys learning how to build that as a team, on a group project, right? Which is, by the way the real world coding happens, right? The best software in the world is built by amazing teams, and you're gonna now learn how to be part of an amazing team while still in the program. So when you have a job and when you get hired, you are one of these high impact employees from day one, right? You wanna know how to integrate yourself into the workflow of a web development team and knowing how to overcome all these challenges because you already have experience, right? Not only does that give you a huge competitive advantage against everyone else who doesn't have that experience, but you actually can prove that in any technical interview that you have those skills, and that really puts you ahead in front of everyone else who doesn't have the experience of how to working together as a team. On top of that, building a chess game is really challenging, and you need to include a lot of algorithmic knowledge into the web application to get that live, right? So that teamwork puts you in a really good position to actually have what it takes to get a junior web developer job and demonstrate through GitHub, demonstrate through your code what you're able to do and build something that's way more advanced than any other program out there is building right now. Now, if you are on the entrepreneur track, right, if you want to build your own web application, you have that idea that you want to see live, then what we do with you is you and your mentor, you go together and you wireframe every single screen of your application out. And then you start breaking it down into individual coding steps, and you start launching one feature after another, just like in the real world. You launch a feature, you get user feedback, you adjust it accordingly and launch the next feature or improve the current feature. And that's what we're going to do. So at the end of your, we call it a capstone, you have your own project live. Now that's about the full program, right? This is 13 weeks. At the very beginning, we have the Firehose intro, right, which we use as an application process to make sure that all of you guys have the coding fundamentals down, right? I know that a lot of people watching this right now already coding on the Firehouse intro, and I'm just seeing some, that's why I'm smiling, some coding challenges actually being submitted right now while I go through this info session from people that I know that are watching right now, which is awesome. Thumbs up to you guys. So keep doing that. If you're not on the Firehouse intro right now, definitely do that. Go to theFirehoseProject.com. Look in the top nav. You see a little link that says Get Started. Take a moment to fill out that application, and then we can have you started for 2 weeks. It's completely free to run through, review your code, work with you on your fundamentals, so you're ready for the full program, right? Now, once you start the full program, it's 13 weeks, and that's when the whole other support system also kicks in, and I want to talk about that next, right? So there's one-on-one mentorship sessions, there's a Q&A forum, there's office hours, there's a Slack channel, and there's also our Scrum meetings for our group project members. Now, let's talk first about the Q&A forum. And usually people tell me, oh, come on, Marcus, forum, I know how this works. I have an error message, I paste in the forum, I get an answer. It's not so much how the forum works, it's what the forum enables us to do. The forum enables us to do to help you when you're stuck, at the moment when you're stuck. So you have an error message, Thursday night when you're coding, you put your error message in the forum, we can help you within an hour or two, you get your problem solved, and you're on your way to learn more, so you're not spinning your wheels. What that also does is, during our mentorship sessions, we can have you come to them error-free, right? We solve them in the forum already, so you can use the mentorship session to dive deep into topics. Like, could be test-driven development, could be algorithms, could be building an additional feature on top of what you already have. Pair programming with your mentor and going really deep without worrying about error messages because you already took care of them is what really matters and really gets you, advances you to the next level of coding proficiency. And that's what happens in our mentorship sessions when we pair you with senior web developers from places like PayPal, eBay, Flickr, Product Hunt, Techstars, and Y Combinator companies, right? That's where our mentors are coming from. That's the experience they bring to the table, and you can take advantage of that if you're prepared, if you're ready for your mentorship sessions, by getting rid of all the error message ahead of time. And then we also have the weekly group meetings, right? The weekly office hours, and all of them, because that's a moment when all of our students come together and they are they're asking us questions, error messages, career advice, how do the individual pieces of a web application fit together, right? And since we have students in there who just started and students who are really far ahead in the program, something really interesting happens, right? It's like if you're just starting out and the advanced students are presenting a problem that they're having with an algorithm, right? You might not know what that necessarily means. You can't read the code yet, but you're seeing the path where you're going to. It's really important to see that path consistently. Likewise, if you're already ahead in the program in like week 8 or 9 and somebody in week 2 asks a problem, right? You're probably going to know the answer and you can help that person out and then solidify your learning in a different way. And that's really important, that teach back moment, right? And we foster that during our office hours when all of our students come together. Then also for the group project, right? We have weekly meetings with you as well. These are Scrum meetings where we make sure that everything is on track and your group doesn't fall behind. You complete all the individual steps you need to do to launch your chess game, and somebody is making sure that all the open pull requests, wherever the code is based, is all clean and ready to move forward, so you're not stepping on each other's toes, and you get the information on how to communicate with each other, how to break individual coding steps apart. That happens as well in the group project during the last 4 to 5 weeks of the program. All right, guys, that was a lot. That was the whole curriculum, how we customize it for career seekers and entrepreneurs, and also the support system, right? How you have access to the Q&A forum, to the weekly office hours, to the one-on-one mentorship sessions, and also to our Agile, to our Scrum meetings for the groups. And now I said I'm answering that question that I'm always getting, which is like, Marco, besides landing a job as a junior web developer or building my own application, what can I really do? Like, what am I able to do? And my answer is pretty simple. You're able to create and launch products, ideas that you have, and you push them out to the internet and get user feedback and help people out, right? You're really able to create, and that's something that I think is the most powerful. So if you have an idea, you sit down, you start programming, and within a weekend or a week, you have your application live, launched on the internet, and you can start sharing it with the world. And that can be something complex even. And that is where I think the real power is, besides having your initial idea out, that you're able to keep going on and moving way beyond your wildest expectations that you're having right now. So that's pretty much it, what I wanted to cover. Now I'm going to jump in. I'm seeing there's a bunch of questions hitting my inbox. I also want to see if I see anything in the Google Plus group. So if you have any questions, hit me up with them, or be like, don't worry, Mark, I'm all good. I'm already focusing on the pre-work, and I'm looking at the code right now, and I just want to keep working. That's great too. Landon Sanders, is it true that if a telekinetic is watching you online, you can tell, hey there, enjoy your day. Hey Landon, enjoy your day too. Thanks for swinging by. All right, what else do we have? All right, let's quickly see here. Okay, jumping in there. Gotcha. What's the application process? One question. So application process is pretty straightforward. Go to theFirehoseProject.com. Look at the top nav. There's get started button. Hit that. Fill out the application. Be part of our Firehose intro course. 2 weeks. Solve all the challenge sections, and then get accepted into the full program. And you can choose your starting date, tuition payments, all of that, and we can get you started and matched with a mentor. Great question. What else do we have? Let me check here. Oh, the weekly time commitment. Yeah, that's a question I get a lot. I think all of that you can also see in our FAQ section. So if you go to theFirehoseProject.com/FAQ, or on the sidebar, you can find those answers to those questions as well. Happy to go through right now. So the weekly time commitment that we say is 20 hours a week. We want you to dedicate to the program. You can do less, but usually at 20 hours per week, you hit that point where you a self-sufficient developer, meaning you can read documentation, you can teach yourself more, you can move forward without us teaching you how to fish consistently at a really good pace. So 20 hours a week helps you get through the program really good. That's the minimum, right? There's a lot of people in our program who do this full time, right? And they go through, progress a little faster. There's additional materials that we have for them. So that's about half of our students doing it full time, the other half doing it part time next to their job. So either way, whatever works for you, our program is flexible to deal with both situations depending on how much time you put in. So again, about 20 hours a week minimum that we want you to dedicate to the program. Feel free to put more in. There's plenty of students who put in 60 hours a week, and they're having just as much of fun than people who put in less time. Great question. Let's see, that's awesome. I get more solutions for the pre-work right now for the Firehose intro. Perfect. How are the materials presented? The materials are presented in 3 different ways. So we have written guides, we have video instructions, and we have live instructions, right? So the written guides are there for a reason. The written guides are there because that's how you learn in the real world, right? In the real world, you usually never find a video explaining you how to integrate with an open source code, explaining how to use an API. It's always documentation that's written. So by going through our detailed written guides that explain to you step by step how to, for example, build the automated email notification feature on your Yelp clone, you're learning how to read documentation, and then that also enables you, and it's a really good training mechanism to learn how to read documentation in the real world, right? You'll learn how to do that by actually going through our written guides. Next is the written guides are a really rich resource for you where you can come back to. So we see that very, very often. Our graduates coming back in the platform, logging back in, they already have professional web developer jobs, Rails engineer jobs. They come back and they actually check out a lesson or two to quickly 1 line of code that they need for their work because it is explained perfectly in there, and they come back like, that's the resource I need. And then they log out again and keep going, building their professional web application. So the resource and the real world application of written guides is why we're having them. Then next is videos, right? We send you videos at the moment when you need it, when we know the likelihood that it clicks and the things are connecting is the highest. We know that because we have so much experience running hundreds of students through through that experience and teaching in classrooms at universities like Harvard, Babson, Carnegie Mellon, University of Hawaii. We've been all over the country, and we know what works and when that moment comes, when it clicks. So we give you those videos, for example, that explain how model view controller architecture works, how HTTP requests works, how object-oriented programming or inheritance, how that works, right? We have videos for that. We also have a JavaScript deep dive video lesson that teaches you what is important when you use JavaScript instead of a Rails application. Now, that's all video training. And then we obviously have the live training, right? Office hours, these are group project meetings, these are one-on-one mentorship sessions where we actually teach you one-on-one or in a group setting how to actually get from A to B, how to make that next step. Great question. Let's see what else we have. Anything else? Yeah, I think I have a few more questions. Why is a group project? That's a good one. Why is a group project so important? I think I answered that already, right? In the real world, the best software is built by amazing teams. You want to know how to integrate yourself into one of those teams and actually work together as a team, right? Really important knowing that workflow of how actually a feature is developed as a team. Knowing that and building something as advanced as a chess game inside of a Rails application is really challenging. Doing that will impress technical hiring managers. And I say that with confidence because every time I talk to senior web developers or VP of engineering who want to mentor our students, when I mention that, they basically just look at me and say, I'm in. If they can build this, this is so exciting. I want to be a part of this, right? That's how complex that is, and that's why we get into that, and that's why a group project is so important, and that's why it gives you such a big competitive advantage because no one else is doing it. So you definitely should take advantage of that if you're looking for a job. All right, there's more coding challenge solutions coming in. Thumbs up, I love it. Yeah, I think that is pretty much it. Oh, here's another one. What's the difference between us and some of the competitors? I think the biggest difference is that we do real world coding, right? This is exactly how things are working in the real world. So you're having the group project, right? That is exactly what happens in the real world. You're having complex web applications that we're teaching you. Test-driven development, that's the bread and butter of a web developer. You can't work in the real world if you don't know how to do this, right? Algorithms, that's just the foundation to build something complex, right? This is what we're teaching, and I don't see that happen anywhere else. The depth of the curriculum is really what matters. And then I think the code mentors are just world-class, right? We're regularly turning code mentors away that cannot solve the coding challenges that our students are able to solve in week 11 and 12. And they're mentoring at other companies out there. I don't want to name where they are, but they're pretty big. And sorry, they're not accepted into our program if you can't solve what our students are solving. So the quality of the mentors is sky high and really screen them heavily, and they work at amazing companies. I said it before, right? Y Combinator companies, Techstars companies, these are VP of engineering, these are associate professors of computer science who also work at amazing startups at the same time, right? They work at PayPal, at eBay, at Flickr, they build products from the ground up, right? These are the mentors that we're matching our students with. So again, the depth of the curriculum, going on test-driven development, and that real-world coding in a group, and then the amazing mentors. I don't think you can match that anywhere else. All right, I think, guys, this is pretty much it. Some really good questions here. So thanks very much for just checking if there's another one. Nope. Thanks so much for sticking around. This was a lot of fun. Thumbs up, everyone. I hope to see you in the Firehose intro. If not, apply for that. You know how to do that by now. In the meantime, stay awesome, and I'll talk to you later. Bye now.